This is Justin here. My wild card picks video, I went 2-2 in. I'll do a divisional playoff picks video later on in the week. But yeah, the Cowboys won, so I'm happy. But I want to do something. I'm going to use Richard Dawkins, part of his book, The God Delusion, something he covers on pages 148 and 149, covering Creationist. And then I'm gonna read what Creationists, the whole thing that Creationists try to take out of context, and you be the judge at the first sentence of a paragraph is what we should go by, or if we should go by the whole paragraph. So let's get to Dawkins. Creationists attempt to deploy the argument from improbability in their favor, always assume that biological adaptation is a question of the jackpot or nothing. Another name for the jackpot or nothing fallacy is irreducible complexity. Either the eye sees or it doesn't. Either the wing flies or it doesn't. There are assumed to be no useful intermediates. But this is simply wrong. Such intermediates abound in practice, which is exactly what we should expect in theory. The combination lock of life is getting warmer, getting cooler, getting warmer. Hunt the slipper device. Real life seeks the gentle slopes at the back of Mount Improbable, while creationists are blind to all but the daunting precipice at the front. Darwin, and here's where I want to get at mainly, is what he says about Darwin. Darwin devoted an entire chapter of The Origin of Species to difficulties on the theory of descent with modification, and it is fair to say that this brief chapter anticipated and disposed of every single one of the alleged difficulties that have since been proposed, right up to the present day. The most formidable difficulties are Darwin's organs of extreme perfection and complication, sometimes erroneously described as irreducible complex. Darwin singled out the eye as posing a particularly challenging problem. To suppose that the eye, with all of its inimitable contrivances for adjusting the focus of different distances, for emitting different amounts of light, and for the correction of spherical and chromatic aberration, could have been formed by natural selection seems freely expressed absurd in the highest degree. Creationists gleefully quote this sentence again and again. Needless to say, they never quote what follows. Darwin foolishly free confession turned out to be a rhetorical device. He was drawing his opponents towards him so that his punch, when it came, struck the harder. The punch, of course, was Darwin's effortless explanation of exactly how the eye evolved by gradual degrees. Darwin may not have used the phrase irreducible complexity or the smooth gradient up amount improbable, but he clearly understood the principle of both. Now, what I like about Dawkins here is he actually nails what creationists love to use. But now I want to get to Darwin's example. See, I used this book, A God Delusion by Richard Dawkins, pages 148 and 149. Now I'll be using this book to cover this on pages 155 and 156 of what they like to. I'm going to read the whole thing through, or the whole paragraph, and let you, so you can see where the problem lies. Organs of extreme perfection and complication. And here where we go. To suppose that the eye, with all of its imitable contrivances for adjusting the focus to different distances, for emitting different amounts of light, and for the correction of spherical and chromatic operation, could have been formed by natural selection, seems, I freely confess, absurd in the highest possible degree. Yet reason tells me that if numerous gradations from a perfect and complex eye to one very imperfect and simple, each grade being useful to its possessor, can be shown to exist, if further the eye does vary ever so slightly, and the various be inherited, which is certainly the case, and if any variation or modification in the organ be ever useful to an animal under changing conditions of life, then the difficulty of believing that a perfect and complex eye could be formed by natural selection, though insuperable by our imagination, can be hardly considered real. How a nerve comes to be sensitive to light hardly concerns us more than how life itself first originated. But I may remark that several facts make me suspect that any sensitive nerve may be rendered sensitive to light, and likewise to those coarser vibrations of the air which produce sound, which I think Darwin's head on here. I don't think the eye is perfect. I mean, if the eye was perfect, then explain why we have people that are blind or born colorblind. I mean, seriously, why would we have them if that's the case? I mean, I think the theory of natural selection explains a lot of things, but as Dawkins clearly puts it on pages 146 to 147, is simple. Creation and logic is always the same. Some natural phenomena is too statistically improbable, too complex, too beautiful, too awe-inspiring to have come into existence by chance. Design is the only alternative to chance that the authors can imagine. Therefore, a designer must have done it. And science answers to this faulty logic is always the same. Design is not the only alternative to chance. Natural selection is a better alternative. Indeed, design is not a real alternative at all, because it raises an even bigger problem than it solves. Who designed the designer? Chance and design both fail as solutions to the problem of statistically improbability, because one of them is the problem, the other one regresses to it. Natural selection is a real solution It is only workable solution that has ever been suggested. And not only a workable solution, it is a solution of stunning elegance and power. Now, with that being said, I'm going to catch y'all later. Y'all have a good one, and we'll see y'all next time.